Spurs are shambolic. For anyone that didn't hear me at the back of the room, Spurs are utterly shambolic. And for anyone that thinks I'm being knee-jerk, and we've only lost 1-0, and we've got a second leg, I've been saying this about Tottenham since November 2023. After that 10-game run of Ange postecoglou where we didn't lose, we won 8 and drew 2, Tottenham have looked an utter shambolic football club. But the injuries. But we played twice a week. But stop. No one can tell me, no football fan, no Spurs fan can tell me what style of play are Tottenham. I keep hearing from rival fans that, at least your manager plays attacking football. We are shambolic. We are not good when we attack. There is nothing. There is nothing there. This is the most inept waste of a manager I have ever seen in my decades, in my 40 years of supporting Tottenham Hotspur. This is the worst manager I've seen by not 1 country mile, 1,000,000 country miles. This is the worst manager, hands down. He is tactically inept. His substitutions are atrocious. He has the same scapegoats for every game. He doesn't have a plan B. He doesn't even have a plan A. And he doesn't know how to change things up. This guy is a fraud. He is a clown. He is terrible. And he is making me fall out of love with Tottenham Hotspur. I don't know how much worse we need to get before fans see that this guy is awful. Let's go back to the beginning. Tottenham Hotspur have had 8 days since our last game. 8. I mean, look how many days. Look, 8 days since our last game. He said before the game today, he said, we've had 8 days to work on the training ground for this game. And that is what they came up with. Those tactics are what he came up with. Leaving the right-hand side of our defence wide open as always and letting Poku have as much of the ball as he wanted in the first half. Where have we seen that before? Oh, I know. Every game we play, the left winger of the opposition has a field day. The non-existent midfield. Strange that. Every game, non-existent midfield. All of our first choice midfielders are fit, by the way. Nothing to do with injuries. Every game, teams run through us at will. And you saw it in that first half. Their guy picked it up in his own half and he ran, unopposed, slipped the ball into Parrott, who should have scored. But it's every game. Even Glenn Hoddle in commentary said, where's the Spurs midfield? Glenn Hoddle also called us shambolic last week. This week, he's questioning, where's our midfield? He said, and I quote, what are these tactics? But yet I'm negative. Fans like me are negative for pointing out how bad Spurs are. Yes, we've had injuries, but what is the style of play? What are we? What are we? What do we do? What do we work on in training? From minute 1, AZ Alkmaar just looked cool, composed and comfortable. They were happy for us to have the football. Like most teams are happy for us to have the football because it goes sideways, back, sideways, back. Danso Gray, Adogi, Danso Gray, Bentancur, back. It is mind-numbingly boring. And from minute 1, they picked and chose their moments to counter us. And every time they got in through on goal. Every single time. It's becoming embarrassing how easy we are to play against. It's becoming embarrassing to see how wide open we are. Every pundit is talking about how wide open we are. But we've got half this fan base that are like, you guys are just negative. You're the toxic fans. How? Everyone is seeing it other than half our fan base that call the other half toxic for telling the truth. You're the toxic ones for letting this stagnate. You're the toxic ones for thinking this is good. Now, the 1-0 scoreline in itself isn't the end of the world, but the performance to go with it was shocking. And Ange had the audacity to turn around and say, it was a difficult pitch and we didn't handle it well. What is this? Is this like the Arteta using the football excuse? Something wrong with the football. What are we doing here? To quote Perchy, what are we doing here? For months and months, we've used this excuse that it's injuries. And for over 18 months, I have said to anyone that will listen, watch the tactics, watch the style of play. It is awful. And there is a video going around of James Maddison sitting on the bench to Son, and all the people that are lip reading it are saying that he has said every game is the same play. Every game is the same play. They hate playing it. It is awful. And there are fans defending this. Second half, did we do better? We had one shot on target in the game through Odegaard, who was awful when he came on, by the way. Awful football, awful player. Son, gone. Brennan Johnson, one of the worst footballers I've ever seen at Spurs. But he scores a tap in every 2 or 3 games. Oh, that's all right then. That's all right. Don't worry that he can't pass, can't dribble, is weak, doesn't track back and mark his man. He scores the tap in. Yay. Look at his GA. Yay. We're embarrassing. We're an utter embarrassment. Now, can we turn this round in the second leg? Sure. But that was our 18th. That was our 18th defeat of the season. 18th defeat of the season. Let that sink in. 14 in the league. We've lost 2 in the Europa League, 1 in the FA Cup and 1 in the League Cup. 18 defeats by March the 6th. And there are still fans that don't want this manager sacked. Sack this fraud right now. Get in a manager that can get us some cohesive teamwork, make us a unit, make us difficult to beat, go back to basics, and then go and try and win the Europa League. Because this manager is dreadful. And he might very well get us through at home against AZ. And he bloody well should do, because that's not a great AZ team. But what will happen when we play a top team? Roma, Bilbao, Lazio. What happens when we play one of these teams? They will destroy us because we are dreadful. Every manager in world football has worked out how to beat Spurs. Every manager. Every single manager has worked out how to beat Spurs. Now, some of them don't have the quality players to do it. Those that do beat us. 18 defeats. Still, I'm going to get excuses on this. The comments to this video. There'll be excuses for the 18 defeats. Oh, the injuries. We didn't lose today because Van der Ven and Romero were on the bench. We lost today because we're non-existent in midfield. We're non-existent up front. There's no patterns of play. No one can pass the football to each other. It's not being coached. It's not being drilled. Archie Gray and Danso did well at the back. They win the ball, then shambolically every time give the ball away because they can't pass. Udogie, how much time does Udogie want on the ball? He wins the ball and then lackadaisical on the ball, gets the ball taken off him. It can't go on like this. People keep talking about a project, a process, a plan. What project? What process? What plan? I've been called a fake fan, a negative fan. Go and support Arsenal. But what is it that other people are watching that I am not? 18 defeats this season. 18 defeats. I genuinely don't know anymore how people are backing this. Guys, it was utterly shambolic. This is the worst manager I have ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur. The worst manager. Get him out. get a proper manager in, and let's get some pride back to Tottenham Hotspur. We move on to Sunday, but how many more games of football can we lose this season? And how many more excuses are we going to see from clearly half the fan base that don't understand football? Please like, please subscribe. Listen, you can see I'm a passionate Spurs fan. I'm an angry, passionate Spurs fan who is so upset at what this manager is doing to this football club. Levy, please sack this man. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs.